All right, it says here that I am live. So, I don't know if anyone is in the chat or anyone is here. I'm going to give it some time, but if you are, feel free to let me know that you are. Let me know if the sound is okay. Um, yeah, but I'm here a bit early, just making sure everything is working okay, making sure anyone who wants to get settled in can get settled in. Um, but yeah, howdy. I'm assuming I'm speaking. Cool, cool, good, good. And I'll probably ask once I get the episode going, making sure that it sounds okay. Though I probably won't be talking over the episode much. I'm probably gonna pause, and then speak, and I might pause quite a bit. Well, one of those things. The last time I did live Cinemassacre content, YouTube shut that down, and I think it was because I was just playing it straight through too much, like just like an hour of just watching or whatnot. If I look at like what Josh does with Dancing with Ghosts, he stops the videos quite a bit to talk, and I think that's probably why he doesn't get interrupted. So that's what I'm gonna do, and at least according to my YouTube stats now, it says I have 4 concurrent viewers. So if something like that holds, then what I'll probably do is once I do hit 8:30, I will start the episode. Um, but yeah, so so far what I'm reading is kind of what I was anticipating, which is the kind of a mediocre episode. Sounds like what I'm thinking people are what their thoughts were. Um, but yeah, feel free to share your opinions. But yeah, why don't I'm gonna get started at 8:30 on the dot, and I'm sure. Actually, I already know this. I already know that there's like because of scrubbing through, there'll be a good buffer of ExpressVPN ad or something like that um, to run through. So yeah, let's yeah, I'm sitting here waiting for 8:30 on the dot. Like this is so important to get this at the exact right time. But yeah, I think it's fair is fair. All right, yeah, let's there's a few people here. It says here 5 concurrent viewers. So yeah, let's get this started. Let's get this started, and if people file in, they'll file in. Feel free to. I look forward to your chat because it helps make it more interactive and interesting. Share your thoughts, but yeah, let's go. And yeah, as I play this, if the sound is off or whatnot, tell me to raise or lower the volume, of course, and I will do that. And of course, we start out with. I mean, right off the bat, this has been going on for a long time. I've seen, we've all seen this intro for years now, I think, and it almost goes without saying. I know why they do it, but it's a little lame compared to what we used to get. But I think they, for the algorithm, they use this quicker intro to get you into the content quicker. Yeah, yeah, I know. And it's like, and back in the day with television shows, they used to, oftentimes they'd have a long theme song, and then they realized they could get more ad revenue by shortening that theme song to something really quick, and you don't even get that. You just get this. I wonder if Justin would have to get paid royalties, or I don't want to get into conspiracy stuff that I don't know about, but yeah, eh, you know, that was definitely a nice part of the show. It's a
It's
cool
the
looking intro
spookiest
though.
time of the year, and with Halloween right around the
I'm
corner.
I'm trying to find that hat. I'm trying to find that hat. I really want that hat. I want to use that for content more like nerd content, and I can't find quite that.
It's nice to see so many streaming apps packed to the gills with gill men and other monsters and awesome horror content. But what about those forgotten gems only found on VHS or streaming outside your country? Well, with ExpressVPN by your side, nothing can stand in your way. ExpressVPN is the ultimate skeleton key that opens up the video crypt full of streaming content.
So I'm going to guess this is going to last like a full minute.
Typically hidden from your geolocation. Apps like Netflix and Disney Plus bury content away from peering eyes depending on what country you live in, but with ExpressVPN, you can change your location from somewhere like Transylvania to the UK, and within seconds, the movies you've been looking for will appear in a puff of smoke. And with over 100 countries to choose from worldwide, whether you're hunting vampires with Blade 2 only playing in Japan, or stitching together the
Look, it's not original. I'm not the first to say this kind of thing, but like this sucks. And I think look, I get it. You have to get revenue, and I understand that. It's his life. But to start with the intro and then you cut to this and then you go like, I don't know if there's a perfect place to put this ad, but it's like you're getting ready to kickstart the episode, and then we do this again. It's like a full minute of this.
In the Netherlands, ExpressVPN will always be there.
I think it's going to be a full minute. That's my guess, because they often take that long.
Extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by going to expressvpn.com/cinemassacre or by clicking the link.
And here's another thing I'll say. James is a filmmaker, and I shouldn't mock, but like, there are other YouTubers who do a solid job of integrating the ad in an interesting way. And I don't know, maybe it's hard to do that with ExpressVPN all the time, but it'd be maybe, I don't know.
Description below.
Tonight's Halloween marathon continues.
Assholes tonight at 9. Well, seen that one before. Yeah, I'm getting tired of the same old horror movies. You know what? I'm gonna go see that new Nosferatu movie. Yeah, there's a new Nosferatu, which is a remake of the remake. I'm very curious about that, so I'm gonna go check it out. Yeah, so it's not out yet. It comes out on Christmas. Christmas Day. Of all the days of the year to release a horror film, why pick Christmas? What were they thinking? Well, gonna have to wait to see Nosferatu, but at least for now, I can play the game. That's right, the game.
The setup's a little weak, I guess, if I'm overanalyzing.
Yeah, Nosferatu on Super Nintendo. I'm sure you have one of two possible.
If I were into drinking games, we would do, how many times does he say Super Nintendo?
Responses. What's Nosferatu? Well, it was the ancient Romanian word for the insufferable one, but never mind that. It was the title of the 1922 German silent horror film, which happens to be the oldest surviving adaptation of Dracula. But if you already know that and you're thinking, holy shit, there's a Nosferatu game, well, see for yourself. Holy shit. Fuck my fucking nuts off. This looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It really looks cool. That's a really great art style for Super Nintendo.
For a 16-bit game, the graphics are
okay. It's got that like Prince of Persia rotoscope like animation type of style going on.
Very impressive.
Although, that run cycle kind of sucks. Now I'm like analyzing. Now I'm like analyzing the game and not the review, but that's cool.
But I will say, this game is awesome. If you're at all surprised by just the fact this game exists, well, so was I. It was.
All right, if he's going to tell us this game is awesome, that is a red flag for me right there. So a little bit of a preview. So one of the video I've been working on does spend a little bit of time covering my irritation with the good games episodes. And I think that's fine once in a while, but it starts to kind of miss the point of the nerd, I think, in its totality. You know, he's gonna take you back to the past to play these shitty games that suck ass. And I know that those lines have been removed from the themes, but like, and it's not just that it's fine to do it once in a while, but this has been going on for like the last year, and it's just like, it's now just like a game review, and so now we've gotten a lot of games that I would put in that good game category if he's calling this a really good game, and we've got Kingdom Hearts and Sim City. I would even say Glover bordered on a good game, and so this is, I don't know, it's a little tiring for me. Maybe he can't do that AVGN shtick anymore, so he's just gonna pick whatever. I kind of get it, but that's hey, this is a great game. Now I'm a little concerned already, because what are you gonna do? What humor are you gonna do with a great game? It's not easy to do.
Released in 1995 in North America, but it wasn't until after the turn of the millennium when I first heard of it. If it was in Nintendo Power, I must have missed it. Its obscurity has some similarities to the classic film. As the story goes, the filmmakers didn't get permission to adapt the Dracula novel, so...
How's it going, Dingamus? Yeah, this is James. This isn't the nerd. We've been getting a lot of James lately. Okay, but this is James.
They changed the names. For example, Dracula was renamed Orlok, but a court ruled against it and ordered all copies of the film to be destroyed. Though obviously some managed to survive, because then how the fuck are we looking at it? Though the game was never destroyed, not yet, it does feel like an unofficial Dracula. You can clearly tell from the cutscenes and especially the game over screen that it's meant to be Dracula. Some speculate that the reason they couldn't call it Dracula, or chose not to, was because of Konami having already established such a well-known franchise with the character. I mean, it's so famous, I don't even think I need to say the name of this franchise, but I will. Castlevania, or Devil's Castle Dracula. I'm pretty sure the character was...
Oh, that was the other good game. Do you remember how earlier this year he made an episode questioning which was his favorite Castlevania, which was the episode that he did like 13, 14 years ago when he did 4 Castlevania videos, and we already knew that his favorite one was Super Castlevania 4, so he just did a new episode. Let's stop with the Castlevania, James. I will say this. I'm less bothered by him doing all this history and this type of video for this game than, say, SimCity, because he has an attachment to horror. This has always been part of the Cinemassacre brand. We expect that from him. I think it's tough for these things to age well because now there's so much content going into the history of different content. And and so, yeah, I hated that video so much. And spoiler alert, you guys are gonna find out the degree at which I hate that one soon enough. So yeah, but yeah, okay, or Castlevania 4, gotcha.
And it's worth noting that there were other Dracula games, such as Bram Stoker's Dracula, you know, the one with Fred Fox. But the Nosferatu game has the same type of premise. A guy goes into a castle to fight a bunch of monsters, ultimately to face a final vampire boss. But if there was any game it copied, it would be Prince of Persia, with its detailed character animation and controls that attempt realism. You have to painstakingly climb up walls rather than just effortlessly hopping around. I wouldn't call this a platformer game. It's more like a cliffhanger game. So what I'm saying is, Nosferatu, at its best, is Prince of Persia, and at its worst, is Lester the Unlikely. But
yeah, I was thinking of that too. And what up, Brown Electrons? Good to see you.
Not go there. The moves do take a while to figure out. Even if you look them up or somehow have the original manual, it takes a lot of practice. I actually ran the timer out before I even had a chance to try all the moves. And even then, sometimes the attacks just don't want to connect. I have to address the fact that your only method of attack is punching and kicking. You know, I always find it amusing when you punch the ever-loving fuck out of a monster. I mean, that takes some serious nerve, to just go up to that thing and punch it. He even raises his fists, goes into a fight stance like, come and get it. Gonna hook you up with some combos. Even in Doom, the reason you would ever punch demons is because you ran out of bullets. But this guy, he came here.
Yeah, so what he's talking about right now isn't interesting enough to warrant this much explanation. And this is, to me, AVGN, honestly, at its worst, when he just starts explaining stuff that doesn't need to be explained. And in this case, I think he's trying to drag out some kind of humor that doesn't really exist. This isn't like the frustration of just walk over it, right? Where it's so cryptic, you don't even know you could just walk over the gap in TMNT, or name your example. It doesn't warrant this much explanation. One could argue that I don't warrant this much explanation, and my explanation of his explanation, but it is when we get into Wikipedia, AVGN, and that happens when you have these 20-minute videos. The 20-minute video in Ghostbusters was awesome because it was like the whole point of it is he's just dragging out this rant about something that really he deeply cared about. He doesn't care that much about punching these enemies.
Choice without any weapons. I mean, you could see in the opening cutscene, he arrives at the castle unarmed. I figured along the way you would pick up weapons, right? A cross, a silver dagger, some holy water. But no, there are no weapons at all. Who would have thought a vampire hunting game would be all hand-to-hand combat? And this guy doesn't seem to be a mutant or have any super-powered abilities. He's just some ordinary-looking dude. Damn! Don't ever fuck with him. When you beat the stage boss, he shows off some moves, like you won the round. Were they trying to make a tournament fighter or a beat-em-up game? And then at the last minute, it got turned into a horror-themed adventure? Not to mention, the Stage 2 boss is a pair of apes. What kind of theme are we going with here? I don't think they even knew what time period the game takes place. The game over screen has a photograph. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after dying so many times and having to constantly look at it, I started wondering, why the hell would there be a photo? I mean, wait a minute. The date on it says 1990. Is that when the game is supposed to take place? I thought maybe 1890. In the cutscene, he's riding a horse. It definitely implies this is classic Dracula time period. But no, the Ninja Turtle movie came out the same year. This guy's riding a fucking horse into a castle. And besides, that is one sorry-ass game over screen. A guy and a girl smiling in a photo? Not a tombstone or a pile of bones or blood-dripping letters that say you're dead. No, just a vacation photo that could be somebody's goddamn profile pic. MySpace, yeah. Isn't that what the kids do these days? Huh?
I don't. All right. So the photograph thing again. It's the photograph thing again is again, did it require this much? It's not. I didn't feel anything interesting here that he's trying to make interesting, I think. So that's one. And then is this thing that he's been doing where he's the old the out of touch old guy, is that working for him? It seems like it's not. I get it. I mean, when you start to get into your 40s, maybe that's just the type of humor that you do. But oh, that's interesting, Free Nintendo. So you're saying that the thing that's actually interesting about the photo, he doesn't actually talk about in what amounts to about a 20-minute video. All right.
No, I'm a little behind, guys. Who made?
Oh, come on. I like, really, no, I'm a little behind, guys. Like, no, I mean, nobody, does anybody believe, like, there's a point, obviously it's comedy, and comedy, there's hyperbole and exaggeration, but there's got to be some suspension, like we're going to go back to haha, MySpace, like that's like, it's the kind of joke you expect from someone like that, you like a work buddy who's not at all funny, and then you kind of just have to like laugh and nod, like, really hilarious, James. Like, no, I mean, MySpace is what, like 2004, 2005, we're expected to believe that everything stopped for you in your 20s. Okay.
This game.
Wait, did he just say fuck? Oh, let me go back. Did he just like act like he was upset with this game? Hold on. I mean,
blood dripping letters that say you're dead. No, just a vacation photo that could be somebody's goddamn profile pic. MySpace.
yeah, Brown Electrons is the man.
What kids do these days? Huh? No? I'm a little behind, guys. Who made this game?
Oh, who made this game? I thought for a moment he said "fuck this game," like he's he's getting angry over nothing.
I'm gonna move my thumb away. Yep.
Are we gonna see like an LJ? All right, what are we gonna get? Because this is what he does. He used to do this with LJN. Are we getting an LJN reveal? I mean, it didn't come up in the LJN 200, so I'm thinking no. I'm thinking no, that this is not an LJN reveal. But what are we getting?
I'm gonna move my thumb away. Seta. Yeah, it couldn't have been LJN because I already did all the LJN games, finished them all off in my episode 200. So, Seta.
Yeah, but this doesn't work at all because the game doesn't look that bad. It's not that bad, and you said it was. I think you said at the beginning it was a good or a great game. So, what's the joke? Like the joke would be like if it was a really, really awful game, deserving of it might be LJN. Okay, I get it, but what's the joke? It's not. Like it's not. We know it's not an LJN type of game. All right? What was the point of that? Like again, like this is this thing that he's been doing lately, where he acts like things that are good are worse than they are. Like I never played Glover, but again, that doesn't seem like a bad game to start acting like you want. Sorry, I'm trying to read your messages. No joke, just member berries. You know what? I think that's a good point. But it's a joke that look, it wouldn't even be hilarious, but I would get it if it was like, oh, this game is really bad. It might be so bad that it's LJN, but it's not. It's clearly not anything that you're looking at and thinking, oh, this thing sucks. Seems fine.
Who did that? Oh no. Oh, no! Now we know the extent of what we're dealing with here.
No, we don't, because that game looked like ass and this doesn't. But... Sorry, I would probably add a sync with the timer. I'm just laughing at Brown Electron Spielberg message.
Check this out. You often come to a low clearance where you have to pass through a narrow space. You're probably thinking you just duck and crawl, right? Or do a slide like Mega Man. Well, you'd be right that you slide, but it's not that simple. You don't just press down and A. No, you have to get a head start and then run by doing a double tap on the D-pad, and then you slide by pressing down and Y. It may seem fine enough to deal with, except the run doesn't always work. You're probably familiar with other games that use the double tap to run, like Battletoads and the Ninja Turtles beat-em-up games. But this is like a broken version of that. Is it supposed to be 2 slow taps, 2 fast taps, or fuck it, try 3 taps? It doesn't matter. It only works when it feels like it, and that's unacceptable because there are tons of spots where you need to run. Whether it's a running jump or a running slide, you have to do it again and again and again. So it must be reliable, but it isn't. Oh, and then there's times when you run by accident, like if you're trying to walk.
Yeah, the artwork looks really good.
Walk real slow or inch yourself to a certain spot.
Like I'm sitting here complaining about something while I'm watching it. I'm going, I'd like to try this game.
It might trigger the run. Then I realized something. It just hit me like a 10-ton pile of shit. There is no reason the double tap should be necessary at all. Couldn't run be its own button, like L or R? Those do nothing. And what about X or A? Those are dead buttons too. The game only uses Y and B, attack and jump. You can reassign the buttons, but it doesn't matter because there's only 2. All the other buttons go to waste. It seems this game was designed for the NES. But this was in 1995. It wasn't like Super Nintendo just came out.
Super
in
Nintendo.
Fact, PlayStation was out by then. I already said they didn't know what genre game they were making, but they didn't even know what console they were making it for. I'm starting to think this game might not be as awesome as it first looks. Man, such potential. Great style, great design. I mean, who doesn't love a good spooky adventure where you're going through a bunch of haunted scenery, fighting creatures of the night? but it's ruined by one minor peeve after another. Certain monsters drop crystals on the floor, but you have to...
You know, and so I think, let's just say for the sake of argument that these frustrations are real and valid. What he did early on in the episodes was you would feel the consequences of those frustrations, and you would feel, you know, like, oh, what's a good... I mean, there were plenty of good examples early on, but where like a bad control could get you in a bad situation, and and then all of a sudden he experiences it. Like, you know, like if I could get if he was trying to do something over and over again in the game, and then he struggles, and then he dies at a part because of the bad controls, and then he reacts to it, and you feel the reaction. And so again, we've shifted years later into like, all right, we're explaining territory, and we're explaining it way too long, because he could have tightened this up. I watched this episode when it came out, thought about it the next day, and realized I didn't remember a single thing about it. Yeah. And I look, it's hard. I don't blame him. Like, I couldn't milk this show like for 25 episodes, let alone 200 and something. So I mean, I'm not annoyed per se. I'm just analyzing for what it is. It is what it is. I get why it is what it is. I don't know how you could keep that going, but it is what it is. Yeah, I should go back. Yeah, and even Lester the Unlikely wasn't bad, and it was kind of funny because the character was funny. I will go back on Lester the Unlikely. Like, at first I didn't like it, then I did like it, then I could see why some people don't like it, then I liked it again. But it's certainly better than this.
Stand in the most precise spot to pick them up. It's like trying to pick a penny off the floor. It's not worth it. What are these crystals for anyway? Well, to increase your attack power.
Yeah, and another one that was good was the Dragon's Lair one, where you could see how the controls and all of that would lead to this frustrating moment. He spends most of that episode on like that first screen, but it's really good because it's worth talking about, and you know how he can't get past it.
Shit, but it doesn't matter. As soon as the next thing hits you, you lose them. Let's say you open a treasure chest and get an item. What will be your next instinct? To walk away, right? You got the item, done. But no, I found out there could actually be more items in the chest. So you have to keep grabbing until you've got everything. Who would think to do that? In Zelda, when you open a chest, there's only one item. That's it. You don't keep digging into the same chest. But some chests have no items at all. Instead, a shitty ghost that pops out and hits you. That's a cheap shot, a gotcha trap. But everything I've mentioned so far is just petty poopy. The real shit is coming up. Theoretically, it's a short game with only 6 stages. But you know what other game has only 6 stages? Ghosts and Goblins. And that's one of the hardest, most
Oh, okay, so he's gonna have to replay it. That sucks.
Bustin' motherfuckers ever. With Nosferatu, it doesn't really get that hard until stage 3, and as far as I'm concerned, that's where the playability runs out. The problem is they give you only one life. When you die, it's game over and you go back to the last checkpoint, wherever that is.
You know, I get like it's Halloween, so he's gonna do a Halloween themed episode, so like, first of all, what a disappointment compared to, say, Friday the 13th, which I used to think wasn't my favorite episode or one of my favorites, but I keep going back to it as like his narrative done right. So he didn't do any of that. This is another like faceless episode practically. So I get he has to pick a Halloween episode. So he picks, you know, this theme. But there's just not enough content here. And he's been belting out a lot of content lately, so it's hard for me to complain and make this suggestion. But I almost feel like, and these episodes don't always go well, but this almost would have been better if this was a game he talked about and an example of multiple games. He did multiple Nosferatu games or Dracula games or something. But this just doesn't, it's not that interesting to warrant 20 minutes. Like, it's a really, like, it's like, oh, that looks cool, and then you look at the game and there's not that much going on. it's kind of bland. And so what are you going to get? You're going to get a bland episode. This is why I defend Horse Prince, because at least there's content there to talk about. There's nothing to talk about here.
They're real stingy about these checkpoints. After a long, punishing stretch, you'll come to a doorway, which would seem like the perfect logical place for the checkpoint, but nope. Well, that's one way to make 6 stages feel like 100, by turning them into endurance rounds, forcing the player to repeat the same parts over and over and over until they've mastered it. I'm playing on the normal difficulty setting, by the way, and I cannot pass stage 3, not without a code, and I tried for hours. I gave it my best. You know, this gave me that same experience as all those tough-ass games you've seen me play over the years.
I thought that Pepsi Man, for me, was going to be solid F tier. And then I was going through episodes, and shit like this, I'd rather watch Pepsi Man than this. And that was a weird episode. But I rather watch the weird season 13 episodes. Like even Jurassic Park Trespasser, it's hard for me to not rank that really low. But like I could justify that as being funny bad. This is solid. Like I have a boring tier, which is gonna sit between F and D minus. I got a lot of tiers for this shit. This is solidly boring tier. Like solidly, that's where this is. Yeah. He used to do showing, not telling, and he's really shifted to a lot of like telling. And this might be the byproduct of the theory that he doesn't really even play these games, and so how can you even show us other than tell us? Yeah, so is Mike still capturing the gameplay? That was really, Jason Graves was really on the case with knowing he was going to do SimCity when he did SimCity because Mike had streamed SimCity. So it's efficient. It makes the money. I get it. But the quality, you know, he probably played some of it. I don't know. But, you know, if you're not that into it.
It's so familiar to me now. I recognize it, like a sickness coming on. Oh, here's the sore throat phase. Here comes the runny nose. You've gone through it so many times, you know the feeling. And here's how I would describe what I'd call the 3 phases of angry nerd gaming. Phase 1 is the confusion stage. What am I supposed to do? Where do I go? This is when you learn the game, and the only way to do that is by dying a lot.
I feel like he did this type of description thing, and I think in like Kid Cool, I forget what it was in particular, but
attempt leaps of faith.
This has a Kid Cool vibe to it,
or more like faithless leaps of death. You will run into dead ends and have to find your way around the maze. You will get stuck until you realize there's a hidden path.
Sounds good, Free Nintendo. I probably won't look at the list for a while just so that it doesn't color my own perceptions. But I might. Sometimes I do like to see what other people think. But cool. Cool. Yes. Yeah, Wade. Exactly. Right. And I do believe it was Kid Cool. So and that was not one of my favorite episodes if I recall, but I'm going to give myself a little credit for recalling that. So we got this Kid Cool thing, and I think he did tie it together okay.
The classic cryptic bullshit. And you might even fall through the goddamn floor.
It's kind of like, remember when I used to do stuff like this?
So, essentially, what you're doing in Phase 1 is having a free-for-all fuck-up fest until you've memorized the entire layout of the stage up till the next checkpoint. Phase 2 is when the element of chance...
Ex-fan of Cinemassacre. I mean, look, if I keep watching the content, even if it's for these meta reasons, I still have to say I'm a fan.
Creeps in behind you and kicks you in the ass.
Okay, yeah, Beetlejuice. I think it might have been that. It might have been that and not Kid Cool. I gotta double check. Yes, Beetlejuice. Yes.
This is the part when you think nothing major can go wrong, because by now you know what you're doing. You have the knowledge and the practice, but for some reason, shit doesn't work. Let's say you have to make a running jump to grab onto a wall. 3 simple actions: run, jump.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Grab. And if just one of those become unresponsive, look, see, just like that. It didn't grab, but I know I was pressing up. The biggest wild card for me was this section where you have to pass over a spike pit while hopping across 3 crumbling platforms and being chased by some obnoxious creature that swings from the ceiling. It even laughs at you when you die. It seems self-explanatory enough. Just hop across the platforms. But sometimes the jump fails and he gets stuck in this crouching position. Like, what the hell? I was hitting the jump button. Sometimes you try to jump and he just falls into the pit. And even when you've made it across, there's still a chance it'll happen again. I've tried holding left while tapping B.
Well, you think that's on purpose? I know he admitted to doing things on purpose for Karate Kid, and then he said he didn't anymore at some point because I think it's because it's not organic, which I get.
And he gets stuck in this crouching position. Like, what the hell? I was hitting the jump button. Sometimes you try to jump and he just falls into the pit. And
I'm gonna believe him.
Made it across, there's still a chance it'll happen again.
Well, maybe that one was suspect. I don't know.
I tried holding left while tapping B, tapping left while holding B, every possible combination to hack the controls, and just when I thought I had it figured out, it stopped working.
You know what the problem is? I don't know what's at stake. And I'm gonna overanalyze this like literature or good film. I don't care whether he gets through this game or not. I don't know why what's the objective, what's the goal, how invested is he in this? And I'm looking forward to talking about this in a few of my episodes, but like Action 52 was brilliant because there was a thing that kept you watching, which was he starts out that episode with, am I even going to find one good game? So even though there's 52 games, you sit with it because you're sitting there waiting. Is he going to find that one game? And so there's something at stake for going through all of these. And then, till you get to that last one. And so this episode, there's no real investment. I don't even know, like when he's going through these platforms, I don't even know where he's at, how much further along he is to completing this game, whether or not he cares to complete this game. There's nothing at stake to, okay, so you die. I don't even know when he dies. Does he go back to the beginning of the stage? Does he go, like, where does he even go? How much further, how much more does he have to redo when he dies, right? Like in Superman 64, he keeps going through these rings, he keeps going through these rings, he keeps going through these rings, and then he gets far along, and then he dies, and then he goes back to the rings, and he gives you that random. I love that line, the way he says it. Like, I'm back at the fucking rings again. I don't even get to try again. Like, you understand what's at stake. So you watch this, and it's like, okay, so you died. Who cares? I don't know. Should I care? Let me read some of this. I think he's just so bad at games. That's why he struggles. Yeah, there's, it's what people feel. I guess he's beaten some hard ones. My main issue with this episode and other modern is that there are times where he goes minutes upon minutes without making any notable joke. Yeah, there's no more jokes anymore. Yeah, it's, and when they are, they're like shit like, what was that in MySpace? Like, at the start of the episode, he talked like he was excited, right, about the prospect of a game based on off Nosferatu, but he didn't lean into it enough. Yeah, it just kind of comes and it goes. You don't feel, that crowbar, that fucking crowbar joke. There, I want to blame, like, Kieran for a lot of that stuff, but as I start to watch some of this humor, I'm like, you know what? He was in on that crap, too. Like, the crowbar is almost, at this point, like, a better attempt than like a lot of this other nonsense. But yeah, there isn't really an attempt at humor anymore.
It's all random luck of the controls, and whenever I did pass this section, I always ended up dying somewhere else. You're expected to have a perfect marathon, which is basically like trying to flip a coin and have it land on heads multiple times in a row.
Hilarious.
When you fail, you get mad and want to try that same part over again, immediately, while it's fresh in your mind. But no, you have to start over and redo that whole stretch. And that
Okay, you know, so he finally tells us, like, what's the consequence of dying.
brings me to phase 3. Phase 3 is when boredom and fatigue sets in.
I'll say that again, James.
This is the stage of the sickness when you're wondering, when is this going to be over?
Yep.
You're so exhausted
Yep. Thanks. You just took the words right out of my mouth, my friend.
from playing the same parts over and over that you start playing shittier because you're rushing.
Like, that's the other problem is, like,
Patience is gone.
this
is
game looks so samey that you also just, like, you feel like you're looking at the same thing over and over again. So in that sense, like, to me, it's a bad game choice to be this long.
when you can barely even stand to look at the graphics anymore. Those colors and patterns are burning into your eyeballs, and that music has fucked its way into your mind. As you can see, I lost my fucking mind. Yeah, I
There goes the onion.
I hit my breaking point. I realized there was no way I was passing stage 3, even if I spent all day. So that's when I tried the code. This allowed me the opportunity to play every stage and fail on every stage. Fuck. Ah! Oh, fuck!
Alright, but he doesn't even look like he's trying. Come on.
Fuck! 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 I've shown you everything worthwhile. There's not that much variety. So here's the...
Then why did you pick the game? Why did you spend 20 minutes on this shit? I've shown you everything worthwhile. Not that much. I do get it, because again, this is that what's been going on, it's that algorithm bullshit where it's like these things have to be 20 minutes long minimum in many cases. And so, okay, let's make it 20 minutes. You know, I am nowhere as talented as James. I'm nowhere near what James is. I want to believe that when I watch a nerd episode, if I don't have much to say about it, that's going to be very short and I'll move on to the next one. And I get that that's not my full-time job, so I get to have that luxury. But it's tough. It's tough to watch something where it's like, how many times in these episodes where he's like, there's not that much to say, and then you go on for 20 minutes. And I think that's what the worst thing about this show has become, that it's like, I don't have that much to say about this. And now I'm going to give you generic gaming content. Wesley Warrior knows the way to my heart. And again, like, my point with Horse Prince is like, okay, even if you say that game, that episode on its own sucked, I just kind of knew the reaction to it was just gonna like just create like milquetoast boring content. Like, okay, don't even try anything that's different. And I rather him do things that are different and give us 9 misses and 1 hit than just keep on with this. And again, I don't think the guy is that funny anymore. And so I think you kind of have to pick a game that's interesting enough to let the game do the talking. And this isn't it. This is as boring of a game as it gets. This is of all of the of all of the games I've seen in the last year, this is about as boring as it gets. It's more boring than Deja Vu.
Final battle with Dracula.
And that was I'm sorry, I know some people were like, oh, that's really cool. James is trying. Look, there's camera effects and that's cool. But the review itself was just like that just droned on. It was the most memorable. And yeah, and that's going to be, I'm a big Star Trek fan. So Horse Prince is almost like the Trouble with Tribbles episode where it was not a good episode by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. But it will be the one that's remembered. And Horse Prince will have its place in the zeitgeist of AVGN, and no one will really ever look back and think of this again.
Nosferatu, whatever. He switches back and forth between his human and bat forms, and I have to say, I had my doubts, but it turns out that you still don't get any weapon, even at this point in the game. The whole mission comes down to a bare-fisted slugfest against the king of vampires. It's one thing for this guy to go around punching monsters, but to actually kill the undead Prince of Evil with his bare fucking fists makes him the most unbelievably badass character of all time. Jeez, holy shit. Can you kill a vampire in hand-to-hand combat? Is that part of the lore? Did they ever establish that in the original Nosferatu film?
I actually kind of liked the little rant, but this part kind of killed it for me a little bit. Okay. Yeah. I'm surprised. Did James say that line? Because if he didn't, I'm surprised he didn't say that line.
Think of it. This battle goes exactly how you'd expect. I mean, look at this. I'm getting my ass handed to me. And it's pretty rare to see your life bar bigger than the final boss's and still impossible to beat him. I managed to sneak in a combo every now and then, but it takes 2 combos to drain only half of 1 crystal. Half! You know what? Fuck this game. This is one of the most deceivingly shitty games I've ever played because it's almost awesome. It has a great style.
Wait, hold on. God, all right, people are in the chat. It's almost awesome. All right, so besides the graphics, did he present us with the game that seems almost awesome? Because I'm not seeing it. I saw, at least the way he laid it out, a game that is bland, that's repetitive, that's hard to play, that doesn't have any interesting discoveries, that only has a few levels, and that just repeats itself kind of over and over again in those few levels. And environments that, while they look good, again, they kind of look bland and repetitive over time. So where's the almost awesome part in this game? A game where you can't even be rewarded with a weapon or something. So, what's the thesis here? It's almost awesome. Was it? Because you didn't do a review where you're like, oh, this is great, but all of that. Like, I didn't see it.
In that Castlevania sort of way. Let's not say Castlevania because it only makes me wish I was playing Castlevania. It has awful, unpredictable controls, not enough checkpoints.
All right, hold on. So it's almost awesome, and now I'm gonna try to drum up a rant.
No extra lives, cheap traps. If you have anxiety, this is a game that a doctor would tell you to avoid.
I didn't see any anxiety in this review.
It's one of the most nerve-wracking pieces of shit.
No, I didn't see nerve-wracking. You didn't give me nerve-wracking in this episode. And by the way, you know what? I do kind of like the blanket, but get rid of the fucking Super Mario Brothers blanket if you're gonna do a Halloween-themed episode and have a pumpkin in the background. Hey, it's Halloween-themed. We're gonna put a plastic pumpkin back here. I mean, for a guy... for a guy who does like Monster Madness and gets all into horror and everything, I mean, man, how you went from Friday the 13th to this. And like again, this guy loves classic horror. Like this should be a time where it's like, fuck it. I don't even care if it gets a lot of views or not. I don't even care if it's a bit of a waste of time and energy for the amount of views it's gonna get. Like let me go balls to the walls here. People complained about Immortal in a way that I kind of didn't think it was as bad as it gets treated as. Do something like that. I mean, you did more for doing Jekyll and Hyde the third time. And you can't. This our Halloween celebration is picking a bland horror game and putting a plastic jack-o'-lantern on the top right corner of the screen above a brightly colored child Super Mario Brothers blanket. This episode is probably among my least favorite Halloween episodes. I should watch all those again, and when I do my full ranking, I guess I'll know what my favorite Halloween ones are. This certainly doesn't. This seems like it could rank the lowest. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but sure. Most of the other ones have something that makes it stand out. Yeah, compared to the other episodes this year, this is just a basic review. God, this might. I thought this year sucked, and this one is right there with them. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think the blanket's fine for retro gaming, but like you're doing this horror themed episode, and again, you got this bright white, cartoony 1990s Super Mario blanket, and there's a jack-o'-lantern. Okay, it's Halloween. That's funny to me.
Super Nintendo, by all definitions,
Super Nintendo
is Nosferatu, the insufferable one.
No, it's not. It's not. It was almost a great game, and it's insufferable. Tell a fucking piece of dog shit. Oh, okay, he's giving us a. I would have liked to have seen more stuff like this in the episode. I don't know if this is on purpose, but like, you couldn't post-process those strings out of there. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's a mock of old stuff. Yeah, it's bullshit. You probably heard me. You may have seen some of my rants about what's bullshit in the Red Cow Discord. I guess they've been fine. Maybe I've been a little hard on them just because it just, a lot of the stuff that he's been doing, again, I get it. It's a good business decision where he's just trying to go back to form. All right, Monster Madness, what's bullshit, AVGNs. He's done a lot of AVGNs. And I won't kill him for that because, again, he's got to feed his family and all. But I guess then it would be nice if within that he tried something that he seemed passionate about and it wasn't just going back to the well. All right, yeah. Wait, did he did the whole negative review for that one joke? Yeah, there are it does feel like it's like I'm doing this for a joke or two. But this is tacked on. Now we're hearkening back to silent era film. The last 30 seconds of the video. Like if this was like throughout the video and he made a thing out of it, cool. I like silent film. I like the history, so I always feel like let me tack this shit on at 1915 out of 1940 of the video. So it feels out of place. I felt that way about Deja Vu a bit, although it was more present, but it felt like cutscene review. And it's like really tacked on. All right, I'm gonna say this. People may disagree. I would have much rather have seen a 10-minute episode, maybe even a 5-minute episode that was this, and it was him playing a game in this style and reacting to it in this style and pantomiming it and doing that. Would that have been successful? Maybe not. It probably would have gotten way less views. I don't know. Whatever. I would have much rather have seen that than whatever this was. I would have been fine with all silent. I mean, you've made like 220 of these things, so fine. Have one that like is a little bit more risky, a little bit more niche. I at least like it was one thing if this episode would have been really good, but you know, so like you kind of tease with this. I don't know. Now look, it might have had that same reaction that Sega Menacer got, but I think one of the reasons that the Sega Menacer got that reaction is it felt a little off, and I think that Keith Apateri guy, I think that's his name, it just didn't fit. He just didn't fit that show, and maybe I was a little hard on that one, and people were a little hard on that one, but again, at least he would have tried something. I'd rather him try stuff and then like tease this whatever at the end. Okay, cool. Gameplay by James. Yeah, it's like it's in line with the rest of the season. It was everything is bland and boring, and then there's Horse Prince, which just stands out among all of them. So we got that one. Yeah, it might as well AI his voice to do. Yeah, I'm not feeling the what's bullshits too much. I don't feel like they're all that real. It has always been my favorite part of James, which is like James is like when he like gets irritated. Also, anytime James sees a hole, he's gonna make a reference to Glory Hole somehow. That showed up in one of those videos. So I don't know. Yeah, so I put in the title, what tier is this gonna be? And so like I said, I have F minus. I'm still on F. And then after F, I have a tier that I'm calling a boring tier, which are gonna be episodes that I don't have too much to say about. They're that boring. And so that video will probably cover a lot of episodes, which is how, even though my pace seems really slow, how I'll probably catch up on a lot. And I think this is like solidly in boring tier. Like, what is there? I stopped a lot and said a lot, but really, what is there to say about this episode? It's not so bad. It's interesting. The game is bland. Yeah, an all silent episode would have been cool and a memorable homage to the original film. Yeah, I think so. I think that would have been a lot better, especially since he teases it at the end. And again, I think that could have been like 5 minutes. I'd have been fine with that. And yeah, maybe a lot of the fans wouldn't have liked it, and maybe some revenue would have come off the table. But I don't know. I think that would have been more interesting than this. That year, the year broke me so badly. 2024 felt like the worst year for Cinemassacre because of one fatal episode. It broke me beyond repair. Hello. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it should break anybody, but again, I thought I didn't hate Horse Prince the way others did. I think in terms of AVGN, I thought season 13 was the most like wacky and bizarre. How's it going, Zach? I thought that was the most wacky and the most bizarre. Um, but yeah, yeah, and I don't remember being crazy about the Beetlejuice episode, but there are a few folks here. It's up to you guys. Should I throw on another more classic AVGN just for the fun of it, or should I wrap it up? I don't mind hanging here and watching more nerd. Yeah, let me I'm gonna pull up so I've been like I've been spending a lot more planning for my videos. And in that planning, I've been downloading a lot more AVGN videos and organizing a lot more. So I'll probably pull up something from one of the videos that I've downloaded. So let me see what I've got and pull something up. But that was fun. I honestly, I'll say this, and I'm not just saying this to be nice, but this would have been insufferable doing this on my own. It was a lot more fun having some people to watch this with, and reacting to it. So thanks for joining me. It's for my live stream, this is a lot of people, so that's I appreciate it. I'm thinking too of doing like what I'll call like a Cinemassacre Sundays or Cinemassacre Saturdays, where I watch some nerd content. It'll each Sunday or Saturday with people. And that will also allow me maybe to even catch up on some nerd videos, because I am watching like these videos like 3 times for these ranking videos. Like I'm taking it way too seriously than I probably should. All right, I'm pulling up. What do I have here? I'm gonna read out episodes in order from earliest to latest as I have them, and if someone wants to stop me and say, do this one. Yeah, and I'm a little inspired by that. And I think Dancing with Ghosts, Josh does it, like, in a way, like, I think it's for the connecting with people. And I like that he does that. And so this is, I like doing this too. So let's see. All right, I have the original Castlevania episode. I have the original Jekyll and Hyde, original TMNT, Ghostbusters. That's 20 minutes. That might be a bridge too far. Sega 32X, Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout, Super Mario 3, Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle. Then I have the 3 parts of the Castlevania videos out of the 4 that they did a while, like in like 2010, 2011, something like that. I have Winter Games, Ninja Gaiden. I'm a little in the mood for Ninja Gaiden, maybe. Zelda 2, Ghosts and Goblins, Big Rigs, Hong Kong 97, Seaman. I'm not doing Earthbound. I'm not doing Dirty Harry. Yeah, I'm not doing any of the ones that I have after this because they're long and boring. I don't have Horse Prince downloaded, and no, I think I might get banned for showing Horse Prince at this point. Yeah, Independence Day was not a good episode, and I think it was him trying to do something for July 4th. Let's do Ninja Gaiden. Are you guys cool with Ninja Gaiden? That jumped out to me, is what I felt like watching. I haven't seen that one in a while. Alright, I need to Alright. Now my borders look stupid for this screen. Should I get rid of them? Let me put this on top. Where's my video source? Okay, let's pull this up. That's fine. That'll do. If you OCD on this screen, I apologize. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. There we go. Sorry. It's probably not fun watching me resize stuff. Yes, that is Toe Jam and Earl. The background's Toe Jam and Earl. The borders are Toe Jam and Earl. I was feeling Toe Jam and Earl with this. I'm surprised he never did anything Toe Jam and Earl related. But maybe, like, that would be one of the good games that would be an interesting one to do because it kind of borders on being bad. Yeah, thanks for joining, Free Nintendo. Have a good one. Let's all right. So, let's go. We're going to do Ninja Gaiden. That's a 15-minute episode. That's longer than I was expecting. Okay. Come on, that instantly makes this better. That intro just instantly makes it better. And I kind of have to pause a bit because YouTube will probably ding me, so that's one reason I'm going to pause, but that instantly.
He's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games and suck ass he'd rather have.
Oh, so if they play Toe Jam and Earl on James and Mike Mondays, they're gonna recycle that for an episode at some point. It's just a matter of time.
A buffalo, take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd.
I mean, there'd be way more content in Toe Jam and Earl than that Nosferatu game.
He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
We're talking some real intense shit right here. We're talking Ninja Gaiden. Everyone always said Ninja Gaiden, but I know for a fact it's Gaiden. You know where I learned that? From the wizard.
Ninja Gaiden. Hey!
Yeah, back then, nobody knew how to pronounce the names. It's like in Street Fighter. We didn't know Ryu was actually Ryu. Blanca, some people say Blanca, but there's no way it could be that, because Blanca sounds like blanket, man. Anyway.
Sometimes you do see the early signs of some really corny, bad humor. So that whole blanket line makes me think maybe James did come up with the crowbar line.
Ninja Gaiden, to me, is one of the most memorable...
Blanket Man. Some say it's Super Nintendo, some say it's Super Nintendo.
...games of the 8-bit era. While the arcade version was a Double Dragon-style beat-em-up, the NES version is an adrenaline-charged side-scroller. Every second counts when you're slashing away at enemies and hopping...
I love the art style in this game, and this game was a pain in the dick, but it was such a good game.
...platforms, and learn how to bounce back and forth between walls
Yeah, the delivery was a lot better.
is a necessity. As an added bonus to its hot gameplay, excellent graphics, and music, it was also one of the first games to have cutscenes. Common nowadays, sure, but back then, gamers hadn't seen anything like it. So epic. The story follows a ninja named Ryu who travels to America to avenge his father's death. It seemed everyone always assumed that it was the same Ryu from Street Fighter.
Do you feel like the pacing of this, like, did you feel like a much more rhythmic pacing in this than we saw in that last episode?
But I'm
Like,
pretty
just that alone.
sure there's no relation. To further perpetuate this alleged tie-in, they had to name Ryu's father Ken. Okay, Ryu and Ken? How could you not think Street Fighter? As the story unfolds, it turns out before Ken was killed, he was working together with an archaeologist, Walter Smith. They were the safekeepers of two demon statues that, when combined, would awaken an ancient demon that had previously been defeated by Shinobi. Yeah, Shinobi, as in the Sega franchise. This game is a whole network of Ninja Cross references. The sequels continued to have awesome cutscenes, and throughout the series, Ryu would always say, what was he gonna say?
Yeah, like somehow he doesn't sound bored doing this. What a much, even if so this is, like, even though this is explanation, there's a little bit more of an idiosyncrasy and it's just the energy. It's just more like, you know, there's something there.
What the fuck? Oh, and what is going on there? It always kept you waiting to see what would happen next. Your reward for beating the level was that you get to see the next part of the story. Its cinematic style contained elements of anime and film noir. Throw that...
Yeah, you know, to your point, Brown Electrons, is like Ninja Baseball Batman is a lot like that for me too. It's just like this random arcade game, and he just like he gives you this energy and delivery where it's like, oh, this is worth watching. Yeah, I know, but old doesn't mean he's younger, he's old, he's too old now. I mean, does old mean you have like no spirit left?
Together with some fast-paced...
I'm old.
high-stake gameplay, and man, the effect was intoxicating. The only problem with these games is that they are relentlessly difficult and nearly inconceivable to beat.
Yeah, it's true, Alexandria.
The second game incorporated new stage hazards that were never seen before. There's the wind level, where the wind keeps changing direction, so you have to time your jumps accordingly. Such a pain in the ass. Then there's the ice level, where you slide all around.
But like this, yeah, but this isn't even anger. This is just energy. This is just like emotion and rhythm and performance.
And my most hated of all
Hey, if I could outsource the slobs.
is when everything goes dark. You might as well be playing blindfolded. The third game is the worst of all, because up until this point, they had unlimited continues.
It's a hard thing to do because you start to like, with slobbing, you start to create like your own style and the thing that you want to do. It's hard to let that go. Like, obviously my videos are not like a big deal, but like even the one I'm editing, it's just like I know what I want this to be. It's hard to slob that out, even if I would like to offload that work.
But not this one. There's nothing more frustrating than to make it really far and then have to start all the way back from the beginning. I'd say this is the hardest trilogy of games on the NES, even harder than Castlevania. I'm going to focus on the first Ninja Gaiden. It's been over 20 years, and I still can't beat this son of a bitch.
So right there, okay. So he tells you, we're 4 minutes in to a 15-minute episode, and he tells you what's at stake in this episode. What's at stake is, I played this, I never beat it, now I'm going to try to beat it. So now you have a reason to, like, you know what's at stake. It's not a huge stake. It's not going to be the end of the world, but it's a narrative element that is gone in all of his other episodes. And he did this really well, whether he realized it or not, in his early episodes.
One of the biggest problems is that if an enemy is anywhere near the edge of the screen, they will respawn infinitely. Nice. Thanks for wasting my firepower. The number one most constant issue in this game is getting knocked back. It's the same as in Castlevania.
Right. What's the main issue? Let's get right to it. The meat and potatoes.
It doesn't matter where you are. No matter which angle you get hit from, it always seems you gravitate towards the nearest hole. You know, I've forgotten that this game has a life bar. Yeah, you can actually die if you take...
Well, it's funny. He's run out of nostalgia, and I still remember that, like, attempt to make this channel about nostalgia, like, 3 years ago or so in his VHS memories, and he's like, this channel is all about nostalgia, and if you like that sort of thing, well, and it said something like stick around or something like that, and then the background music was this more like somber AVGN music in the background. Yeah, you know, nostalgia and memories certainly helped his channel, you know, with the gaming stuff. That, you know what? So, to the question, has he reviewed every notable game he played as a kid? I was thinking about this the other day, and I was wondering, and I'm still wondering, does he have a game that he knows would be his last game if he did a last AVGN episode? And I wonder if there is a game that he's holding out on that would be that. I feel like the last time he did one of those quote-unquote childhood games, I feel like it was like as far back as Akari Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. But I wonder if there's like one thing. And I'm afraid he's like ran out of going back to Jekyll and Hyde too many times to do it a fourth time. But I wonder if there's like one that he knows that he would do. And I wonder what that one would be.
Enough hits. But whenever you get hit, there's a death trap right next to you, so you're always going to die by falling. You might as well not even have a life bar. Look at this guy. How am I supposed to get past him? Fuck. Fuck! This is impossible! How am I supposed to beat this?
So my thought with E.T. is like James's E.T. was really Jekyll and Hyde. The world's E.T. was E.T. But his E.T. was Jekyll and Hyde. That was always like the one he had a relationship with in terms of a bad game. And unfortunately he, again, he did like 3 of those, so
Please, teach me how to beat Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden. I haven't heard that name in ages.
Really?
Normally they say Ninja
and when the episode is interesting, this crap green screening is charming.
Gaiden.
Does that mean I'm worthy?
Playing Ninja Gaiden is a secret art. Only the most determined players can defeat it. Sight!
Look at all that Halo.
You must be quick. You must be strategic. Can you learn that, my boy?
I've wanted to beat that game all my life.
You realize before you can beat the game must beat you.
And it has. For the past 20 years, it's kicked my ass. I love the game. I want to complete that.
What's up, Kev? Are there other folks are streaming?
Love by finishing it.
Very well.
Fuck!
Sloppy. Is the game controlling you, or are you?
Oh, that's right. EJ streams on Sundays. Maybe I should do, in the future, I'll do Cinemassacre Saturdays then. Yeah, Josh, Dancing with Ghosts is Fridays. EJ's got Sunday covered. I'll do Cinemassacre Saturdays if I can.
Controlling the game.
I keep getting stuck on the wall.
Ninja must be master of his environment.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Turtles Tuesdays, I'll do Cinemassacre Sunday. Why not?
And what the
I know what my audience is. Let's be real.
fuck was that? Oh, come on. How was I supposed to know a bat was coming?
A ninja must look beyond the borders of the screen.
Kevin Finn. Zach.
Got him. Oh, there's another bat.
Try again.
So, like, this... It's like there isn't too much narrative. Justin. Thanks, Newhouse. I honestly, that means a lot to me because those games mean a lot to me, and level design means a lot to me, and that particular game I've still been working long and hard on writing my Mario 3 versus World 1, which I've been hinting at for like well over a year now to people. But that one's one of the reasons I've been making these nerd videos is to get better at video editing so I could build up to the video that I really, really want to make with the Mario one. So I think some people didn't get my humor and they really thought I was trashing Mario World in a way that, well, maybe I was. What was I gonna say? Yeah, like there's just enough narrative here to like without it being too much that it works and he builds like early on in the episode. It's like, okay, I haven't beaten this since I was a kid, and then he goes through it, and you know, then you introduce a character. The character is like just eccentric enough to be interesting with what he's doing without being too far out there. Yeah, I'd like to do more. I appreciate that. Maybe I should. I know the Gratitude series is going to get like 6 views, but maybe if I could do some good ones that are worth the time and energy. There's a lot I'd like to do. The last nerd video I've been working on, I can't believe how many hours it's taking for something that's not going to look that impressive, but had a lot of edits, and it's taking a lot.
Unlimited continues means no game over. Game is only over when you make it over.
What am I supposed to do?
Congrats, Kevin.
You must move. How is one to advance if you waste all your energy on one enemy?
Oh, your mother!
You must not act too quick or too late. Perceive the victory in your head, and your perceived future will be your present.
Thank you.
Yeah!
Good.
And obviously, like, the conceit here is it's almost like a Karate Kid type of thing, but we're doing it for something silly like Ninja Gaiden. It's like, it's good. It's good parody, especially for its time. It's subtle, but it's good.
No, I jumped a bat, got killed by a cat. That's the way this whole game is. It's just an endless cycle of things that kill you. Like a checkmate.
Nerd, checkmate does not exist unless you make it exist. Think between the spaces, nerd. If you set a course for the moon and merely follow the stars, then you will miss that which you have set forth.
Well, Ninja Gaiden was a good one to do because it's a good game, but it has frustrations that are worth exploring, and it makes it an interesting one. This is hardly one of my favorite episodes, but I mean, compared to 220, this is, I guess, goes on the upper list, but it's good, and you just see such a huge difference in, like, it's not that much effort, right? I'm not asking them to make, like, you know, Star Wars here, like, but just a little bit of something comes a long way.
Shit. There's a million flying enemies, and they all respawn quicker than I can attack.
You're playing with anger. Anger does not exist. Pain does not exist. Defeat does not exist. Ah! Before you leap, you must look.
I looked.
Before you look, you must think.
All right, I'm gonna answer this question. When did the quality go down? I honestly think it went through phases. I think after 2010, you're out of a golden age, and it's not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still a lot better than what we get now, and there's still some interesting stuff. And then after the movie, he goes through this barren period, but then I think he has a little bit of a comeback, and the comeback comes from picking interesting enough games that he could do a bit with, like Big Rigs, Desert Bus, Hong Kong 97. I think after Seaman, after around 2016, you get this really bizarre period and it starts to fall off a cliff. But then even that's more interesting than what we've got the last 3 years or so. So I think it kind of happened in stages. I don't fully subscribe to like the movie is what ruined everything. Because even after the movie, you had like Board James was really good. Like 2015 was like a great year for board games. I have to go back and watch Polybius. Polybius is one of those episodes that's like it's like an outlier episode because it's just something really different. So it's like a lot of his great episodes had to be very different from what he did. So Polybius, I guess Bernstein Bears was kind of different. I don't think I loved Polybius when I first watched it, but I feel like I'd appreciate it more now, and I'd rather see a Polybius now than a Nosferatu for sure. I mean, it's interesting because I was going back because of I used a lot of footage for my edits, and I went back and watched the first Castlevania, the very first episode, and even that leaves a lot left to be desired.
Before you think, you must.
Yeah, look, it helps if he wants to make something, and look, even if it's a little bit, yeah, Polybius was just different. I wouldn't say he should make every nerd episode like that, but it's just different. It's almost like Simpsons doing Treehouse of Horror. You get something different every now and then, and that's cool. So it's hard for me to like, where do I situate that? I think I only watched it once.
Before you feel, you must.
I've had enough.
Come, show me your thumbs.
What?
Your thumbs.
Yeah, I mean, Polybius would make a better Halloween episode than what that Nosferatu I think ended up being even worse than I was expecting. No, it was about what I expected.
Thumbs.
Like this.
I like this part.
What?
Good. Faster. You are as slow as sloth taking shit. Come, we will develop speed.
Oh, was it? Probably.
When I drop Q-tip, you catch with thumb. Side, too slow. Again. Again. Ha, perfecto. Ha, perfecto. Side, ha. Very, very slow. Side, too slow. One more time. Focus.
So I like this kind of humor. Doesn't feel super like what I expect from like nerdy internet humor. Like there's something a little different here about this, which I appreciate. If that makes sense.
Ready? I told you not to fail. Say.
It is a little bit more older millennial, I guess.
We learn rhythm. Speed is rhythm. Rhythm is life.
All right, Zach, which one was better, James's Polybius or Scott the Woz?
This is impossible. How is a human being supposed to be faster than a machine?
Game machine. Machine predictable. You not.
What?
No chopper offer.
I have to watch the Scott the Woz one then. It's that Scott the Woz interview is so hilarious. Scott just looking into his laptop for like 3 minutes. I don't even know if James is there in that interview, and then you get the usual
Oh, this is bullshit.
Look at the pacing of this. It's just, and I know like different episodes are gonna get different pacing, but just the whole, you could see it from the very beginning. The whole pacing of this is just so much different. It's just boom, 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 boom.
That's unbelievable.
With that attitude, you'll never succeed.
Final boss! Final boss!
You have 3 final bosses.
The first boss isn't too hard once you know how it's done, but the second boss is a nightmare. His fireballs never miss. They follow you everywhere you go. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm all the way back at stage 6-1? That's fucking horse shit. You die on the boss, you go all the way back?
You die, you go back. You must learn discipline.
But how am I supposed to practice on the boss? As soon as I start to learn the pattern, I die and I have to go through the last stages all over again. The hardest section of the whole game is this part right here. It would be so much easier if I had a throwing item like a ninja star. But this game is very stingy with its special weapons. The ammunition is scarce, and whenever you die, you reset to nothing. Even if you do manage to get to this part with a weapon, it doesn't help much. And once you die, you can't go back and restock. This section contains no weapons, so all you have is your sword. The only way to get past this motherfucker is to trigger a glitch, making him disappear. But that only happens if you're really lucky. Then you'll get another shot at the boss, but they don't even have the fucking courtesy to refill your life bar. That is sadistic. Whoever programmed this thing, I want to rip their fucking heart out of their ass and show it to them so they can see how cold and black it is before they die.
As a programmer of games, it used to bother me whenever the joke was, who was the programmer that did this? Because there's like so many things that go into developing a game before you blame the programmer necessarily. But that used to be a little bit of a pet peeve, and I think now people realize it's not the programmer. You know, there are producers and publishers and decision makers and designers and schedules and shit like that. And that it didn't rub me too much the wrong way. I get it, but that was my little rant about whoever programmed this thing. Yeah.
There's no stage select code and no helpful Game Genie code.
Like, there's just this one programmer who just programmed and made every decision about the game.
Either infinite lives? Yay. Isn't that what you have already? How about put me back at the boss so I can get another...
Yeah, like, you know, about the story, it's like... It's just, when James just has, like, a tight, short narrative that's very focused, he could do that, and they were really good for web videos. But then the guy, sometimes he just goes off rails when he tries to do anything he thinks is ambitious, and it ends up being the opposite of good writing. This is actually good writing for what it is. This is 15. And it feels like a quick 15.
Try.
Except I paused it like 88 times.
It lets you skip
And it's almost done, by the way. It's like a minute left.
all the bosses that you've beaten, but it makes me sick to think that there's still one more boss I haven't made it to.
Thanks, Metal.
I give up.
You must not.
Yeah,
give
it
up.
is. It was
Game
longer
over.
than I
Game's over
expected.
now. You try.
But that was like for a reason. It wasn't like, well, I gotta get this. I gotta get my retention rate good.
Fuck.
Nunchuck fuck!
Balls! You know, the whole fucking trilogy is impossible. The first game sends you back, the second has the stage hazards, and the third one has game overs. So it's like, pick your poison. Well, I got my...
Oh, he should have done the rest of them at some point. I'm surprised he hasn't by now.
poison right here.
Well, that's the movie that Kevin, Finn, and James should have done, right? This should have been the movie. He could have. There's a lot more material with this than what he ended up doing. All right, guys. Well, I feel like it's a little late for probably some. I've been doing this for a while. I really appreciate you guys for joining. A lot more people than I thought would be here, and it was fun for me, so thanks. I'm not going to do much of a soft landing since I've been doing this for a lot longer than I expected anyone would stick around for. So I appreciate it. I'll catch all of you later, and I'm hoping to have quite a few rankings coming out in the coming weeks. Yeah, it's true. It's. I mean, I get it, and I don't fault him for it too much, but I totally, you know, it does ruin, I think, the quality and the health of his channel in the wrong one. All right, guys, later.